Elliot Grinch.
Hey, what's going on, guys? GameboyEG here, back with another LSPDFR install tidbit, whatever you want to call it. We'll mix all that stuff in pretty much. I'm going to talk about various things, including trying to enhance or get your gameplay a lot better, frames per second, increases, things that I use that works extremely well, and I'll pass that information on to you guys. So and especially I haven't installed the latest update, but I'm going to do it now because Steam went ahead and Steam went ahead and put the newest version download already. I already had one, but of course, Steam pushes the issue and gives you another one. It is what it is. So I said I'm gonna go ahead and install LSPDFR, newest version, so I have it. Whatever. So here we are. This is where we're at now. Anyway, the latest build for LSPDFR First Response 0.49, build 8757. So go ahead and click that. You will get this whole, advisory and, things you should know. User agreement. All right. Click on the agree. Get 2 downloads. I download them both. You could do the exe setup, or you can do your own, just drag and drop. It's pretty much all it is. It's the difference. That's the biggest difference. Plus with the exe, it'll give you an option for a couple of settings to automatically be implemented, but I don't even bother with that. I just do the drag and drop. All right, so I already have this. I'm not going to download it again. So this is something, you need to start, save files so that you have them for later use, whatever. All right, I go all the way back to 0.31, as you can see. So anyway, here's my 3179, and as I wait for my hard drive to spin up, as you can see, let me just extract this. So make sure you have a WinRAR or WinZip, 7-zip, something to extract these folders. All right, so that's something else you want to download. All right, I'll put links down below for those who are extremely new and not aware of what they should actually have for this type of stuff, for modding GTA 5 and LSPDFR. So as you can see, like I said, you just pretty much, it'll be drag and then you drop everything into the GTA 5 folder. What's good is that Rageplugin hook is no longer separate. It has been implemented into the LSPDFR download. So it's no longer, you don't have to go to another site now trying to get Rageplugin hook as well. It's already implemented. So that's one less step that you have to worry about. So anyway, all right, so once you have LSPDFR downloaded, you're good with that. We'll close that out. The next thing you're going to need, it's not a necessity for LSPDFR. It's just if you want to use scripts along with LSPDFR or in GTA 5 period, you're going to need Scripthookv. All right, so this is the newest version, ready for 3179. So go ahead and download that as well. The links will be down below, but you do need this for any scripts. All right, there are tons of scripts. I'll show you just off the fly. Some of the scripts you may, you may use or may not use. Who knows? Seatbelt scripts, stop animation, trunk, vehicle functions, anything that goes in this scripts folder, you're gonna need Scripthookv. There's another one that pertains to LUA scripts, and that goes into the scripts folder. So therefore, you're gonna need Scripthookv. Barrier fixer, big map, closest door. So many scripts out there, and if you want to use them, you're gonna need Scripthookv. All right, so you might as well download it. There's no getting around it. All right, so download that. You are gonna need for LSPDFR, because for certain LSPDFR plugins, you're gonna need Rage Native UI. So the latest one is 1.9.2. So go ahead and download that as well. Link will be down below. All right, so make sure you get that as well. That's the latest version. Always try to, especially if it's a brand new install, go ahead and download the latest of everything, because anything that is recently done more than likely has been created using the latest files that have been released. Okay, so go ahead and download the stuff, get it out the way. All right, so I already have this stuff downloaded, so I'm not going to download it again, just for the purpose of the tutorial, but just letting you guys know. All right. Lemon UI, it's been used for certain scripts. I'm just throwing these out there for you guys. These are optional, not necessarily needed for LSPDFR, but depending on what type of plugins and scripts you want to use, these are just certain files you should know about. All right, so Lemon UI. I think I've used this for certain things like Rope Creator as a script, because this has to be dropped within the scripts folder. Most developers have started to use Lemon UI. So, just so you guys know, it's not required for LSPDFR. Let me just throw that disclaimer out there. It's not needed for LSPDFR. It's just for using scripts. And these are scripts that can be used in just playing GTA 5. But you guys should be aware of these particular files, okay? All right, so that's another file you should go ahead and download. Scripthookv.net. The latest version was 3.6.0. Once again, these are for script files. If you want those script files to run and work, download scripthookv.net. The other good part for scripthookv.net is this allows you, while you're in game, if you add a script while you're still running your game, scripthookv.net has a reload function, which will just, you hit that key, it will reload all the scripts without you having to exit out the game. All right. So once again, this is not needed for LSPDFR. It's just a file you guys should know about, right? These are the tidbits that I'm throwing out there for anybody who is new to modding or new to GTA 5 modding or LSPDFR, all right? So you can download that. That is the latest release, the same as this file, native UI 1.9.1. This latest release, this also would go into the scripts folder. It's used by certain, scripts that require the native UI file. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I believe Map Builder. I believe Map Builder is one. I know there's a seatbelt script that I use that requires native UI. There's a few scripts out there. So, but this is the latest release. I will leave these links will be down below, but these are files you guys should be aware of that you may need, just in case these terms come across when you're reading about descriptions. And I know about native UI. GameboyEG mentioned that. All right. So those are the files that I pretty much come in contact with modding. We'll get into these trainers a little later. But those are files that I come into play with a lot when using these mods and LSPDFR, GTA 5 roleplay, off the rip. Anyway, so we're going to go into our Grand Theft Auto 5 folder, starting with LSPDFR. We're going to do that first because, like I said, it already gives us Rageplugin hook, and it's going to give us all the files we need for LSPDFR. So I'm going to drag and drop. So we have 27 files. Just copy, paste that into the main directory, and there you have it. All right, so officially you have installed LSPDFR. So if you ran your game with no plugins, don't try to get fancy and go past this. If it goes past this and you have a folder that says plugins, that means you went past that, okay? And you've added other stuff which will probably crash your game, or your LSPDFR will crash. And I'll tell you why. More than likely, the next step you didn't do. So, but you could actually run LSPDFR, play a patrol. You won't have any of the other fancy stuff. It's just going to be the basic gameplay. But that's it. That's LSPDFR. That's all. This is all you need. And you would get a pop-up box, saying you successfully installed Rageplugin Hook, LSPDFR. So we're going to go ahead and do that because we're going to go step by step. So I'm going to minimize this just to show you guys. So let's start up Rageplugin Hook. All right, so you get this advisory here. Please read the disclaimer. All right, if you accept the terms, go ahead and hit accept. And this is the box that would come up. Well, it's a smaller box. If you use the EXE, it would pretty much do a couple, I think it's like one or two things like this. It would ask you if you want to have the plugin automatically load every time the game starts, or you could do the run command within the game. But most people just go ahead and load these plugins on startup. So LSPDFR is the only technically plugin. There's a plugin folder, and then there's a LSPDFR plugins folder. Two types of folders that we'll get into a little later. All right, so we're gonna always have this start on startup. All right, this is your console key, F4, pretty much default standard. Most people use that. Don't change that. It's up to you. You decide you want a different key, you input whatever key you want, and that's pretty much how you'll get the console to do program runs within the game. So that's up to you. All right, advanced settings, it's up to you. I don't really mess around with a lot of this. A lot of people disable this one because that's just pretty much, there's a little, pretty much like a promo, because why not give credit where credit is due. You could disable the little box, not box, but wording that mentions Rageplugin Hook and which version you're using, but it doesn't change anything. It's up to you. That's up to you. Then you can have custom backgrounds for loading screens. If you want to get into all that, that's up to you. You could take the time to do that. This comes later for backing up the game. You can back up your current game files, which are the main GTA game files, which would be this, and your update RPF files, as well as it would save. I don't think it saves the Steam file. That's something, So I just save all that stuff on my own. That's up to you. And it would save the Rageplugin Hook files, but I haven't found this to actually work, lately. It's not like back in the day where this really actually, actually function and work properly. When you use this option to revert back to the previous version, you'll find a lot of people, you just do it manually. People, kind of being lazy all of a sudden, but those are just the basic things within the Rageplugin Hook that I just wanted to point out. So we are going to, I'm going to save and launch, but I'm going to exit before the game starts because I don't want the game to actually load up yet. All right, so I'm going to exit out of that, but that's the basic. And once we go, once we're into LSPDFR, you'll actually see that the game would run. You'll be able to do a patrol, but you wouldn't have, like I said, all that the fancy mods that a lot of us use. All right. The next thing you're going to need is Open4. All right. I meant to have a tab open for that, but no big deal. We'll go to Open4. All right. And make sure you download Open4. Okay. You'll probably get this advisory. All right, but it's a safe site. So go here, download Open4. 4.1 is the latest version, as you can see. Download that. I already have it, as you guys seen. And the reason you need Open4, because without Open4, you won't be able to do any modding to the game. All right, so now that you have LSPDFR working and functioning, and you know what, I will probably start the game up after this, just so you guys can see that, you know, the basic LSPDFR before we get into the fancy modding and things like that. But anyway, with Open4, once you have the game installed, the next thing, most importantly, that you want to do is let Open4 install this encryption key. It'll start up, and these are what the folders look like. And now you can actually go within like RPF files, things like that, and you can actually look inside those same files that you see here. So this is what it would look like, but you see, you can't, you know, if you do it with Windows is like, what file are we supposed to, you know, what program are we supposed to use to open that, you know? But with Open4, you can actually go into that file now and see what's embedded inside that particular file. All right, so that's what Open4 is for. In order to make modifications to Open4, you have to go into edit mode. While in editing mode, all changes will automatically, you know, be saved. Do you want to continue? You hit yes. These are the next things you have to install. So I'm going to back out, because before you do that, you're going to go into ASI Manager. It's going to give you 3 options that you have to install if you want to continue with modding. So ASI Loader is the tool that loads custom libraries with the file extension .asi into the game process. So what that means is, if you don't install this, you cannot use what they consider or call ASI files. So I'm going to show you a couple of ASI files that are very important later to modding. So let's say ELS. A lot of people want the lights, the fancy lights. That's a ASI file extension, els.asi. So if you don't install this, you can't use this. You won't be able to use this. I use FreeCam, things like the resource adjuster, menu trainer 5, which is another trainer, simple trainer, same thing, trainer 5, simple trainer. These are .asi files, or have that extension. Additional car controls. So there are plenty of them. There's a lot of them. Sirens, a lot of popular car developers, because for the lighting sequence, they advise you to install Siren Setting Limit Adjuster. If you don't install this, you can't use none of this, none of these things, none of these ASI files in your game. They won't load. All right. So heap adjuster, which you will need. You're going to need heap adjuster, pack limit adjuster. These are all .asi files. So I just wanted to point that out to you guys, just so you understand why you have to install the ASI loader, right? So you just click install, done. All right. The ASI plugin allows your game to load modified RPF archives. It also provides support for mods folder. And what that means, okay, so anytime you make changes to a RPF file, this has to be installed, because this way it will grab the information from the modded folder of the RPF with the RPF archive, rather than trying to grab it from the original. You know, if that's my understanding. So anything that you modified in the mods folder, you know, it will load that as priority, you know, pretty much priority. So it will not load any of the default items, if that makes sense. All right. So go ahead and install that. So then that's why it asks you, this mod folder allows you to keep all your original game files safe and have the easiest one-click way to switch between modified and original files. So always click this, allow edit mode only for archives inside mods folder. So you're going to see the mods folder. I'll just show you right now before it actually loads. So as you can see here, these are all our original files besides the LSPDFR files that we installed. So if I open up my modded game files, you'll notice this is going to pop up. You'll realize what this is. This is the mods folder. The mods folder is anything that you've made changes to using Open4 will be stored here. See, there's no mods folder here. And in this game where I use Open4 to alter files, I now have a mods folder. Okay? And you'll see or read about or hear a lot of people just say to you, oh, if you want to revert back to the game, or if you're having issues, like say your game is crashing, but you don't know why. The first thing you want to check is it because of something I modded? So what you do is you would just right click, cut, move this mod folder somewhere else, put it on your desktop, whatever. And once you do that, and you start the game up, the game is now going to pull from the original files again. It'll pull from just the original files minus the mods folder. Okay, because you remove the mods folder, that eliminates the guessing of whether or not is it a script, is it a plugin, you know, but is it a script or a plugin, or is it something that I modded? Did I mod a EUP outfit, or did I do install a car incorrectly? That takes that part of the guessing game out of play just by removing this folder, placing it on your desktop or wherever, and then starting the game up. If your game loads up, and that means it pulled everything from the original update RPF files and or from the DLC packs, it pulled from all these original files rather than pulling from the modified ones. Okay, as you guys can see the difference. These are the folders and DLC packs that I installed or modified, like patch day 8NG, so once you remove that mods folder, I didn't mean to go that far back. Once you remove that mods folder and run your game, and if it starts up, that means it was something inside. There's something in your mods folder that's incorrect, something that you did wrong. All right. So that's just another little explanation about that. So you always want to make your modifications, of course, in the mods folder. That's hence why mods, modification. All right. So we're going to click yes. So that's installed. Open Camera enhances free camera boundary limitations in Rockstar Editor. I really don't use Rockstar Editor, but go ahead and install that. So I couldn't really give you a lot of information about the Rockstar Editor as well as the free camera boundary limitations. A lot of people use that for their clips and for picture, image, thumbnail creations, things like that, or just for a lot of the developers when they ask other people to take good photographs, and I don't use the Rockstar Editor. So, but anyway, install it, and that would be that. Close out of that, you are good to go. Usually, if you know you're going to mod, the first thing that I do is you want to go ahead and establish the mods folder. Because as you can see right now, okay, so I refreshed, and now I have a mods folder, but it's empty. As you can see, both places is empty. So what you want to do is, so you don't make any mistakes, just go ahead and add a folder to that mods folder. So the way you do that, number one folder that used to always get modified that I go by is MP Heist, right? So we're going to go to update x64 DLC packs, and I just MP Heist because it used to, I think it was like the update. After this update, a lot of things kind of changed, but it was like the main go-to updating folder. So I just got it right, left click, double left click. Now to tell you copy to mods folder. Click on this, and now you'll see the what they call it, the what do they call this, address. There you go. The mod, it now added the address with mods. So let's go right out of that. So now we have GTA 5, and now we have a mods folder. As you can see here, it now contains a longer address to this folder. All right. And if you do it here, mods, update, x64, DLC pack, MP heist, we could go all through the MP heist folder. But the good part is now we have established the mods folder area or path, which you're going to utilize that a lot when you're going through modding GTA 5 or LSPDFR, whatever. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here for this part. I'm going to start the game up just to make sure. Let's all start our game up. Make sure LSPDFR is running. So when you do LSPDFR, we'll go through it once I start my game up. And we just want to make sure LSPDFR loads up correctly without any, without getting too in depth right now. Okay. We don't want to add a bunch of stuff, then try to start up LSPDFR, game crashes. And now we're like, oh my goodness, what happened? All right. So let's go head to the game. All right. I'll see you guys in a bit. And also, guys, I wanted to point out something else. I'm not, highlighting or promoting anyone in particular. I just went on Google and, look for anyone with 100% game completed, because what you also need for LSPDFR, you've had to have completed, I believe it's the first mission or the first mission. So your first mission or 3 missions, something like that, where it's, where you pretty much drive Franklin home when him and Lamar, race around the city with 2 cars that they have to deliver to Simeon. And after that, y'all drive to Franklin's house. If you pass that mission, you'll be good to go. But you have to have completed the prologue, and I believe it's the first mission. I guess that's the first mission. You want to, can call it the first mission with Simeon. All right. Or you can download anybody's 100% game completion and install it into your game. All right. I'm not, like I said, there's a bunch of them. There's so many out there. Google search it, and that's on you. All right. If you haven't played any of the game, and you go to your profiles location, which is in Documents, Rockstar Games, GTA 5 profiles, and install it into your profile, and you'll be good to go. All right. So I just wanted to point that out before I go ahead and start my game up. So I'm going to have to get out of my Elgato because I just want to show you guys how I start the game up. But I have to use OBS because, excuse me if you hear the mic banging. If you, for some reason with Elgato, when the screen goes black, Elgato stops recording and then starts recording again, but the files get all messed up. So I love Elgato, but I wish they could fix that somehow. But anyway, for some reason the cut screen does something to it. So I'm going to stop Elgato. I'm going to jump into OBS. And I'm only going to record a little bit of OBS just to show you guys how I start the game up, because you got to start the game up, start a Rageplugin, but don't start it because, with Steam, just made everything crazy compared to before. But anyway, let me do this real quick. All right, guys. So as you guys know, I had to switch between my, from my Elgato, I had to switch back to OBS for the moment, just for the recording of this, because I wanted to show you guys how to start up LSPDFR. All right. So especially if you're on Steam, because, it just doesn't work the same. So let me make sure. All right. So you got to make sure that the Steam client is open. So I usually go ahead and let me just do it again. All right. So I without elevated privileges, run Rageplugin hook, but don't let it open, or don't let it start up. Let it open up to this screen here. Okay, did I close it? Okay, hold on. Let me do it again. I think I closed it out. My bad. I thought I hit this. Hit the little sprocket. There we go. And it should open up the box screen. Oh, okay. I did do it right. Where is it at? Okay, what's going on? Well, I tell you guys, always something, right? Always something. Rageplugin hook is not running already. Where? It's not running. All right, let's try this again. Start up the sprocket. And there we go. Finally, when you're at this screen, just leave it here, okay? Oh, boy, I tell you. But at least you guys get to see some of the troubleshooting and situations that happen, right? So then you want to, you could click on play. Sometime I do a GTA 5 launcher. Let's try it this way with the launcher. Double click on it. Make sure your game is already updated as well, or let it install whatever prerequisites or whatever. All right. And you want to wait until you get to the, like, I forget what this screen is called, but it's coming up. After all this intro, right around here, yeah, when it shows the address, come out of that, save and launch, and let Rageplugin hook connect, then bring your game back up. Yeah, so around this part of the splash screen, that's when it's best to install it. Even around here. Oh, okay, because it's a fresh install, my bad. You'll get that option down below, but that's still good. Let it load up. Yeah, I forgot that this is a brand new install, so yeah, but if it was already one of my other versions, it would have just already been at this screen. I wouldn't have had to click on that button. But as you can see, new console commands added, plugin LSPD first response. All right, so that's good. And what you have to do, of course, go down to a police station. So we don't have any what's it called? So the best way that I have to do this, I have to teleport there. I hope no music is playing, guys, because I do not have my headphones installed right now. So I don't want no copyright strikes. I'm gonna have to mute whatever music is playing. You know how YouTube is. So anyway, we're gonna type the command, because when you do a brand new install, you have to create a player. So we're going to teleport to Wayport. Oh, my goodness. Teleport to Wayport. And that's because I don't have any trainers installed. But like I said, Rage has some good commands that you can use. And we're here at the station. So there you go. You have the top corner. So these are all the default settings. So the D-pad right is to enter the police station. And I'm not going to create a character. I'm just going to use one of the already created characters. So go on duty. We're going to hit yes or A. Select the character. We're going to do A. And here you have it. So as you can see, it installed correctly. There's no issues. If you just do just the basics, you're good to go, right? So we'll use this guy here. We'll keep the name. We're going to use him. And as you can see, loading Rockford Hills Police Station. And next we're going to go to the, the locker room. Let's just change his outfit. All right. Inventory for patrol with the stun gun. Confirm. Now we'll go to the garage. We don't have no fancy cars. These are the standard I was going to say Liberty City. These are the standard GTA 5 police cars. We're going to click continue. And there you have it. You're on duty. All right. Traffic light. These are non-ELS vehicles, of course. And that's it. All right. And you would have to look at the key bindings to find out what's what as far as to do a traffic stop, use the LSPDFR install computer system and things like that. But anyway, we're going to get out of this and go back to my desktop, and we'll talk a little bit more about some other things. All right, guys, so we're back at my desktop, and let me get things back situated, just so you guys know. So like you said, that's what you saw is the basic LSPDFR. That's it. So these are the key bindings: as pursuit, report a crime. That's if you spot something, or you want to initiate a pursuit, you use that button. Vehicle selection is just scrolling through the vehicles that you can choose from. Has a frisk to perform an arrest, to stop the pet in the street, to accept the call out, traffic stop. When you're on a traffic stop, you want to interact during the traffic stop. I'm sorry, just to elaborate. Traffic stop start. That's when you're in the patrol car, you want to stop a vehicle, and then when you're at the traffic stop talking to the driver. This is the interact. It has the your ped has an apartment. Save at the apartment. Station to enter the station, to change vehicles out. The police computer, like I said, is the internal LSPDFR computer system, and backup menu to call for additional units. And this is how you toggle the siren. Very standard, basic functions. That's it. The one thing, of course, with just the basic functions of LSPDFR, you get the best frames per second. You would definitely get 60 frames per second. So like I say, you can change the vehicles out with this and just play with the minimum. If you want the best frames per second, if that's what you really care about. All right. Now, with that being said, okay, what most of you are more concerned with is, how do I add more and still get good gameplay? So I will always be pro less is more. Less is best. All right. The less that you have to add as far as additional plugins and all that stuff, because it depends on your PC. That's number one. And really the graphics. It's not necessarily always the plugins and stuff that causes the plugins might cause a hiccup. Like if a plugin is old and it hasn't been updated and you're still playing with it, you might get a hiccup here and there, right? Which will make your frames per second drop a little bit, but then come right back into play once you stop using that plugin, or once the plugin itself shuts off, like say a call out pack, whatever. All right. But then the next issue is, of course, graphics. Graphics is a biggie. All right. Graphics is just a biggie. It's a big issue. So anyway, let's move right along. All right. So a couple of other plugins. As you saw, I was using Rageplugin hook to do a command of teleporting. All right. Things that also piggyback off of that are trainers. Two popular trainers: Menu, Simple Trainer. Another one that I also recommend, I do recommend this one, is Enhanced Native Trainer. Right? I like that plugin as well. That's another good plugin or trainer. All right? That one is also, I should have put that up here as well. Let me search that real quick. Enhance Native Trainer. Right? It's another go-to. This one is a go-to of mine as well. Enhanced Native Trainer. I don't want to leave them out. I like them. All right, not like that, but I do like this trainer as well. I like all three. It depends what you're using them for. Simple trainer, I definitely say it shines for depending on vehicles, because it allows you to access certain doors. That's the best way to put it. That actually control certain parts of the vehicle that the other two don't have. One is like the bay door. You know, I just don't understand why all of them don't have the option for the bay door. Menu doesn't have that. Only a simple trainer. And the bay door thing only comes into play, let's say, for the vehicles that have the high risers, like most highway vehicles, highway patrol vehicles. Like in New York, they have the high risers, those arms that attenuate upward with the lights on them. So in order to open and close those, you have to use the bay door option, which only Simple Trainer seems to have. So, but all three of them are good. I install all three of them, to be honest with you. All right, so download these trainers. Menu. Where is it? Where are we at? This is okay. These, and sometimes you have to find the GitHub for some mods so that you know that you're getting the latest version. So anyway, menu is now up to, there's a 2.0 version, but I believe this is created by someone else who piggybacked or has gotten permission to continue on menu. Right? Let me make sure. Yeah, forked from so he gives credit to where it originally came from here. Okay, so, but always make sure you have the latest version for the game version you're playing with. So like this would be the latest version for 3095 and newer. Well, this is for Scripthookv. I'm sorry. But 2.0, he has created a version 2.0. Yeah, so 2.0. Right, but he does give credit that this was originally created by Muffins or Maphins. All right, so just keep that in mind. But always look for, if you can, try to find the GitHub for the creator so that you can get the latest of those files. All right, so that's menu, simple trainer, and enhanced native trainer. All right, and like I was talking about, you could find plenty of things about frames per second increases. One tidbit that I liked, it has been since taken down. I don't know why, but this is where, like I said, I tried to find it for you guys. So me linking it may not make a difference, but I piggybacked off of this because besides textures being an issue with frames per second, once you start adding mods and modifying your game files, and if you want to have a whole bunch of stuff in your game, all right, the next few things you're going to need a good game config. All right, so let's go game config. All right, so PNW Parks fan, definitely, they have the all-time best game config to me, and the LML team, they have the best. PNW Parks fan is a contributor. Couple of people, Dilapidated, I believe was the original creator, or they were together. Either way, that best hands down best game config that I personally use. I use all of this. They always seem to keep it updated. So make sure you download that. You're gonna need, as they show you here, heap adjuster, which is an ASI mod that I was telling you guys about, and pack file limit adjuster. All right, so even though it says 3095, let me see it, because I believe they did update, or they may not have, but you need a game config for 31. What are we up to, right? 3197, is it? 3179. So let me check that out. Where's my download folder? Yeah, because like I said, guys, I'm just starting to increase, update this myself. So it says latest version. So let me see what they said here. Just want to make sure. He was just all right, and I'll talk about LML. LML is good too. I use it for a couple of mods, a couple of games that I have. All right, so I'm not sure. I don't think this. Let's see if we could go to their GitHub. I thought they had posted it up here. Oh, there you go. Right. Let's see. Nope. 3095 was their latest. Right, but there is I'm gonna have to get the game config for 3179 from somebody else because I just want to install it for you guys as well as for the tutorial. So 3179, I believe, right? Game config. Because I know I downloaded one already. And let's see. All right, let me just put it in GTA 5 mods and see what comes up here. Yeah, I think I just go right to .3028. These are all old. Usually it's the newer ones in the back, but let's see what we have here. Yeah, see, like these are all old too. These are all old ones. All right, let me get the one that I had, or somebody released one. I had already downloaded it, and let me go to that. Let me find that one for you guys, real quick. Configs 3179. All right, so this is the one that I downloaded, and I think I did see that already, right? Where did we see that? Crystals. I just seen that name. There we go. All right, it's experimental, but at least there's one out there. All right, so this is the one that I know exists. You also need heap adjuster 1.0 and pack file limit adjuster 1.2. So that's the current one, and I don't think heap adjuster has any other but that one. All right, so make sure you download that stuff, and we're gonna go ahead and install the game config first using Open4. Right, we're gonna go into edit mode, and now we're going to go to update RPF. Let this copy over to your mods folder. Common data game config is down here. It's near, whenever you see your DLC list, game config. It's in the same folder. All right. So there's an OIV pack. I suggest just doing this stuff on your own. Do it yourself. So I'm going to copy. Oh, okay. I'm going to have to place it on my desktop because all of a sudden, some files, Windows think it's a shaky file, and it won't let, unless you extract it completely, take it out of that folder. Sometimes it won't let you drag and drop no more. But anyway, as you can see, it goes from encrypted to just compressed, which means it has been placed in there, and now the original file that was inside our mods folder has now been modified. It's different than the original file. All right, so once we have that, that's that. For now, we'll close Open4. I like to close things out if I'm not using it. I hate clutter. as you guys already know pretty much. So I have this stuff separated as well. The heap file, and that's down here. But make sure you download that stuff. Heap adjuster. And what do we say? The latest version was 1.0, right? So I know I have a 1.1. I'm not sure where I got it from, but we'll stick with the 1.0. I know it says 1.08A. That's just because I have 2 folders of it. But anyway, and it's already set to heap size 750. I'm going to copy and make sure, yep, I'm in my main directory. Drop that in there. Now we're going to go to our pack file, pack limit adjuster, and what we say 1.2. And this is at 7,344 limit size. Copy. Drag and drop that in there. And you're set on the basics. That's on the basic stuff. All right. Once again, we're still doing basic, guys. Basic. I know there's other files you heard of or you might see on in my folders and things like that. But this is just the basics to get you guys running. All right. So now what this does, it increases the amount of modified files you can have in your game, especially when you start adding a bunch of vehicles, the vehicles and maps. All this stuff takes a lot of stuff, processing by the game. So when you start getting game crashes, it just means that you're doing too much. That's the best way to put it. You're just doing too much. All right. So we can close that out. We have that stuff installed now. We have a good game config. Even though it's experimental, but it's right now, I think it's the only one that's out there for the current version of the game. So the next tidbit I want to tell you guys about after you do that is your plugins. Well, create your scripts folder. So we're going to create a folder that's called scripts, lowercase s, IPTS, scripts folder. And that's for your scripts, of course. Self-explanatory. And next, you want to create a LSPDFR folder. LSPDFR. I usually put it in capital letters. That's how I remember it starting off. All right. So that is for other plugins such as Stop the Ped, ALPR readers. You're going to find a lot of your extra plugins, your little special plugins. It's going to go in there into the LSPDFR folder. You're going to have some stuff that just goes into plugins. Scene Manager. It's quite a few. I'm trying to think of some off the top of my head. But if we go to the LSPDFR site, you'll see some of them. A bike rack that goes into plugins. But a lot of your call out packs are going to go in LSPDFR. They're going to go into that folder. All right. So just wanted to point that stuff out to you as well. Deadly weapons, super call outs, all of that goes into LSPDFR. All right. Yeah. There's a file, spike strips, that goes in here. It goes into plugins. Just regular plug. You go one, boom, spike strips. Drop that in there. Call out pack usually goes in here. All right. Coastal call outs. It's gonna be installed in here. All right. So just so you guys know the difference, there's a couple of different. You have to watch out where the path is, where the folder path is. All right. So that covers that. Next up, I wanted to tell you guys about trying to keep your frames per second high, especially when you start adding graphic mods. After you add all your plugins, if you add a bunch of plugins, Your frames per second is going to change. It might, and it also might fluctuate. It might dip because some plugins, when you open it, start it up, it's going to cause a frame per second dip. But while you're running the plugin, I showed that on another tutorial. I'll put that link up above as well if you want to check that out. It explained like when you open up, let's say like CompuLite, Computer Plus, frames per second is going to go down while you're in that plugin, and then when you come out of it, you'll see that the frames per second goes back up. It's just, it happens. You're not always going to keep a steady 60 frames per second, but you want to try to keep there. You want to stay there, and I understand, because it makes the game look smoother and it runs smoother. All right, so a couple of things you can take a look at. It's better to do it on in the file rather than doing it in game, to me. And I give that credit. I wanted to give the credit to, like I said, real frames per second boost. But like I said, it has been taken down, right? I don't know why, guys. I really don't. But like I said, it's not that it's needed. But like you said, it's this stuff. I haven't used this one. I don't know if it does the same thing. But I found this when I was doing the search for real frames per second boost with Shadow. So I'm not sure, to be honest with you, but I just wanted to point out that you're going to mess with these settings to try to get your frames per second as best as possible. But it's better to go ahead and, so I'm going to close this out, or I'll minimize it. It's better to go into your gaming file settings. So that's going to be at Documents, Rockstar Games, GTA 5, and this file right here. I want to see if I have my default. I think I still do, because I've changed it a lot. All right, I just want to show you the comparison, because your settings might be different than mine's, the way that your computer was optimized. So let's take a look at it. But the stuff you want to deal with is shadows, in particular, shadows and LOD. That's the other two. So like I said, I had got that from, let me see if where is it? Because like I said, I do have that particular mod. So I just want to, like I said, I give credit. The credit was due. Had it not been for this mod, like I said, it helped me out a lot, especially with my gameplay. And yeah, but file helpful for low-end gamers. In this, there are two files: with shadow, performance loss, no shadow. So decreasing the shadow usage and the LODs. So as you can see, like I said, he or she altered the settings files. So like we take a look at the one with no shadows. So that's where I started at. I took a look at what settings were changed. So this is like, I think this was my default in the beginning. So I have my LODs very low, ped LODs and vehicle LODs to like 0. Shadow quality was at a 2. Another issue is sometimes the textures, the water, grass, file, settings, post effects. You always want that high, because that's for like the emergency lights. The brilliance in the emergency lights, visually. And like I said, LOD is just pretty much your line of distance. How far down are the graphics showing visually, because you can set the LOD very close. For those who don't understand what that means, let's say if your LOD is very close, and let's say you're far away from a light, the light is off, like the lamppost light is off. Then when you get closer to the lamppost light, all of a sudden it turns on. That's what the LOD affects, things like that. Situations like that. So just to give you a little basic understanding. So as you can see on their settings, they turned all the LODs down Shadow is down to 0. Texture quality, all 0. So that's the best way. This is the city density, PED variety, vehicle variety multiplier. These are the settings that you see on that screen here. It's just in a different terminology. And when you do it exact on the file and change the number on the file, you are completely disabling that particular setting when you do it on the file, rather than doing it in game. And then plus in game, you have to mess with it, come out of the game, then go back in the game for the settings to take effect. So I'd rather just do it here on the file than to mess around in the game, have to keep going in and out the game, trying to figure out what was what, even though you're doing that too. But for me, it's just much simpler to just change a number from 1 to 5 and call it a day. Or as ever high, usually it's like 1 to 5 for most of the values, right? So as you can see, they set you down to 0 for pretty much everything, for the shadows, for the LODs. And I kid you not, I had and that's why I noticed that this is a big deal, because I had a bunch of mods installed in the game that used to give me a headache, because all of a sudden my game was down to, I'm getting like 40, 50 FPS when I just had 60 until I started adding a bunch of stuff. So, and plus with playing LSPDFR, and especially when you start adding the graphics mod, let's see, I know a lot of people like to use NVE, Natural Vision, Evolved, and you like to use, what's the other one? Natural Vision Evolved, Quant 5, a lot of nice graphic mods out there, but not everybody's computer is going to handle that. And I've seen some of the best computers, but once you start playing LSPDFR, it doesn't matter. You're not going to stay at 60 frames per second. You're going to dip in and out periodically. It's going to happen. It is what it is. That's just the way LSPDFR, GTA 5 was not meant to play LSPDFR. Bottom line. But anyway, it's up to you. Just, to get a baseline, start at 0 and then increase the values little by little until you get to what you like, your preference. Hence how I ended up here. These are my settings. Seems to work best for my computer. As you can see, my NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4090. They were using an Intel HD graphics, And that's the other thing, especially when installing other people's stuff, they're installing stuff from their computer. It's not your computer, so it may not work the same on your computer, so you got to keep that in mind, right? Because, I'm showing you guys my settings. So, I lowered my LOD scale to 1.0, zeroed out the PED. I really don't care about the PEDs in particular, because most of the time, I'm going to be close to the PEDs. I don't need to know about what the PED is doing all the way in the background. I don't care. Not while I'm playing LSPDFR. I really don't care what they're doing all the way over there. The cars, I have it a little bit, because as the car drives off into the distance, I don't want it to just disappear once it gets a few inches away from me, So I have that up a little bit. I want some shadow quality. I set it to this much and I didn't have an issue. Like I said, I tinker with this stuff. The reflection, I increased my reflection to 2. So you have to tinker with the settings a little bit. I wanted to point you guys out to this particular file so you mess around with it. So my texture, because I add higher quality textures, I made the texture quality of the graphics setting a little lower. He has it all the way, he has everything to 0. But like I said, you tinker with these. The water I don't care about. I'm not doing any boat patrols. I don't care about the water. The grass quality, I have a decent grass quality image in there. So, and I'm not running through the grass. I'm out here doing highway patrol or moving. So I'm not really going to be paying attention to that. All that stuff looks fancy sometimes, but sometimes it'll play out your computer. And I have Quant 5 and certain visual mods. I use all of them. I take a mixture from everything and I put it in certain game files that I have, because you're gonna find yourself making different game saves. So I have a Quant 5 save. I have one where I'm still using make visuals great again. I still like that. Those visual 5, Quant 5, all. But you still have to tinker with these, so that the gameplay is not interrupted. So that's the thing. Like, sometimes you have to change settings to get the best out of the game files, your gaming experience for that particular game save. If you understand what I'm saying, because some games I have are just for coastal callouts. So now I want the water to look visually, attractive. I want the sunshine looking bright, or sometimes I'm in the rough seas, whatever. So you gotta, mess around with this stuff. So as you can see, I have different backups: minimum shadow, no shadow. So this is like my baseline. So if something goes wrong, I put this in there. I start from scratch. This one works best to me. This is my newest settings. Higher LOD. It depends. But I switch in and out, So I wanted to point this stuff out to you. So like I said, it gets down to here, shadow distance 1.0. I think I kept that the same. Yeah, 1.0 false. False. 0 shadow split start. Yeah, I kept those the same. And it wasn't, I don't think I changed anything until I got back down here. So like you'll see my post effects. Where's that at? Yeah, I always keep that high. I think 3 is as high as it goes. But he turned the post effects off. But like I said, this is for the baseline. You start from here. All right, you have the pet variety multiplier, vehicle variety multiplier, which is the same setting. Well, I don't think it shows it in that picture, but that's where you increase how many vehicles are going to be in play. What are they going to be? Different variations of the vehicle, because that takes effect too. So I put it at this minimum 0.1, and it seems to work best for me. Especially with the game config. The game config is going to add vehicles as well, So he put it at 0. And he made it minus 0 point for the max LOD scale. I put mine's at 1. Works best for my computer. I never like motion blur. I turn blur off in everything. I even turn blur off on my visual DAT file inside Open4. So I just wanted to point that out. That's another tidbit for you guys to take a look at. You mess around with it in your game for your PC. So I'm going to close out of this. If you guys would like to see my settings in full, just pause the game right now and you can take a look. Like I said, I have a GeForce RTX 4090 if you like to take a look at my settings like so. All right, give you a little pause for a sec. You want to copy it, it's up to you. All right, and now I'm going to get out of that. And I wish that, like I said, they took this file down for whatever reason. I don't know. So now that we got past that, and I'm going to close out this as well. And I'll minimize this. And just like I said, with the visual settings, for somebody, in case you wanted to know about completely disabling the blur effect, I go to mods, update RPF, common data, go into edit mode, and this is your visual settings. Make sure you right click and you're going to go to edit. And this is where you'll see things like rain puddles is in here. So let's say puddles. This is where people tinker around with stuff like how much puddles is in the roadway. This is where people mess with the lightings for the emergency lights. This is going to be that file. Also in this file is the blur effect. let me see. Let me see if that file. Let me see if that mod still exists. Disable motion blur, because there's been a couple of variations. Blur, but this is where I got it from. If it's still up there, because stuff gets taken down periodically. This is I think this is an old file too. Yeah, I think this is the one I use. So big shout out to CN Tiny or Tiny, but I believe this is the one I use. And so this was out in 2016. So I already know this by heart. Okay, so as you can see, if you just set the motion blur strength to 0, then there still will be some motion blur left, like 0.1, and some people still can feel it. Using this mod, you will never feel the annoying motion blur again. So all it is, that's what I'm saying, like, it's going into these files, that's what makes them better, going into the files and manually changing things yourself. So all it is changing all of these to 0. I'm going to do that now because I always do this for all of my games. Change all of these to 0, and you change this up here to 0. Save, and that's it. So that's just a tidbit for those who want to get rid of the motion blur. That's just me. I can't stand the motion blur. That's right there with, there's another one that I can't stand, but I'm not going to get into all of that stuff right now. Yeah, so then the next thing for you guys after doing all of that, you pretty much have everything installed. The next thing you want to do is either your keybinds with LSPDFR, or you can leave them as is because there are some good keybinds that you may not want to change. But then the next thing is adding in some of the basic mods that you might like, that you've always wanted to use. So you can check out Essential Mods on LSPDFR or LCPDFR.com. And these are some of the basics. So like Lenny's mod loader, there is the newest version is 8825. Like I said, I only use Lenny's mod loader. I know it can install vehicles as well. I use Lenny's mod loader to make my life easier when installing stuff like EUP now, coastal callouts. There is a pepper spray or mace mod that I use. Fire callouts uses LML. Those are the top ones that I can think of off the top of my head. I know PNW Parks fan, big shout out to him. He's a avid contributor with LML mods. I know a lot of his stuff uses LML. Like I said, coastal callouts, one of my favorites. So yeah, coastal callouts. But download some of these mods. Spotlight mod hasn't been working too well in the newer versions of the game. If you see Spotlight working on some of my games, it's because I must be using an older version. Because after I think after 25, the version 2542, I think it was, or 25. I forget what it. I think it was 2545. But definitely after 2699, I don't know. Hasn't been working for me. I might try to install it in this newer game and see what happens. I might give it a test run without any other mods, because maybe it might be a mod. That's the other thing. Some mods conflict, But the next thing you want to do is just install some of these mods. ELS or DLS to control the lighting situation on the cars if you don't like non-ELS vehicles. But those are the basics. I don't want to get into I'll save that for another video highlight, I guess, of the mods that I preferably use for a lot of my patrols. I may do that. But for this one, this is just to install LSPDFR and get you guys going. So get down in the comments. Let me know. I can't think of anything else, guys. Get down in the comments. If I left something out, let me know. Let me know. I didn't want to get into picking and choosing stuff for people, but now you can choose your call outs, You could choose what plugins you want to mess with. Like I said, mess with those settings. Mess with that settings file. That will, once you tinker with that, that should help you get back to a good 60 frames per second or close to it. At least your higher ups. You may just have to remove some shadows. And if you look at some of my newer videos, I'm telling you, you don't really see a big difference visually, because I was really startled. Like, okay, it's not really a huge difference in what it looks like in the appearance, and you can still install a lot of the popular stuff, and you can install a lot of stuff actually. All right. So get down in the comments. Let me know what you guys think of this tutorial. Did I leave anything out? Let me know. Was it helpful? If not, I apologize. Okay, let me apologize now. All right. But GameboyEG, sign out on another one. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Share. Please share the links. It helps out a lot trying to get the channel to grow. All right. I appreciate my current subscribers. Definitely, I feel that I made a huge accomplishment, especially if I'm in and out. I'm not like one of the regular contributors to YouTube, but I'm trying. But I'm a real person. I deal with real life situations. All right. But GameboyEG sign out on another one. You guys take care. Be safe.